If you're looking to be an influencer, then this episode probably isn't for you. But if you're instead looking to be a woman of influence, then I would suggest leaning in. If you really have this calling, this mission, this service, product, offer, whatever it is to create greater impact into the world, not to chase significance, not to chase vanity metrics, not to be, oh, look at me, I want to feel like I am worthy of something. No, it's instead, I am here to show you how you're worthy and you want to have a come with me brand. Then this is for you. And I recommend listening this all the way through to the end, because what we're going to be breaking down today is what the market is showing in not just theory, not just ideas, but what people are searching for and what the trends are showing that are more than just the dancing trends, more than just what people talk about, but the timeless trends of how marketing psychology works and what people are craving for in a personal brand, and also showing the realistic nature of what founder-leds are doing today and how this could be applicable for you. So with that being said, let's dive in. I'm so excited to be here with you. My name is Jake Havron. If we haven't met, maybe you're someone new listening. Maybe you've been part of this journey here as the called at the Called and Crowned. And I'm doing a solo episode here today. My beautiful wife, Emily Ford, she's usually the one that's here speaking to you. And I'm feeling a little bit of the pressure. She's on maternity leave right now. We have a beautiful son that is coming into the world. Depending on when you're listening to this, maybe he's already here, maybe he's still on its way. But we're so excited. And you know, the beautiful thing about Called and Crowned and for you being here is that we're here to continually serve you. We've been on this journey for many years. Maybe you're here very fresh, but we don't hold things back. We don't hold things back on the calling, on what God has called in your life, on the way that you can make impact in the business and the marketplace. And what we're going to be talking about with Crown Authority is something that people are starting to understand what it means, but maybe you don't fully understand. And more importantly, you probably don't understand that you actually have this within you. And I would love to take you on this journey and share that with you. And so first off, before any of that, as I shared with Emily being in maternity leave, you guys with your love, your encouragement. I mean, I see all the DMs, I see the messages. She feels so loved right now. I know that she's so excited to hear how this episode goes. She trusts in me, but I know there's probably a little nerves in the back end of wondering how it is. But this is such a new journey for us. You know, this is our first son. And what's so beautiful about it is, first off, Emily feels so appreciated by you. So if you've sent a message to her, maybe if you haven't, but you've been part of the journey, I just encourage you to send her a message on Instagram at it's Emily. She might not be able to get back to you. She might have a baby in her hand, in her arms, nonstop, taking care of them. But she sees that, and it really warms her heart. And from my perspective, to see this calling, she did this podcast multiple years ago, and she was doing it from her room. She would rent out some studios here and there to interview people, but you might have been someone that's been on this journey since the very beginning. And as we go into this new chapter of our lives with the maternity leave, and also with, hopefully I could come back to you more often and be able to pour into you and be able to give insights. It really says a lot about the power of leverage and the power of a brand, right? Called and Crowned was not to be about the Emily show. It's not about her. She is just a vehicle, a vessel to pour into you. You are the star. You are the hero that we are here to serve, because the Lord has given us this ability to speak in this mic, to understand branding, to understand marketing and business, to help women of influence like yourself. And that's why we're so profoundly driven to lead women of influence, not influencers. There's nothing against influencers. It's just not our cup of tea. It's not what we're looking to call and support and help with. And, you might be in this season right now where you've been feeling the stirring. You're starting to see the potency of what a brand could do, whether it's the people you follow, whether it's the small amount of impact you've already made when you've shown up on social media or your digital presence. And you're starting to feel this in you, but you're also having this antagonistic battle of, well, how do I do this consistently? And, what am I supposed to say? And I'm multi-passionate and I got these things that I want to talk about, but there's too much to talk about, so I'm not going to talk about anything. And then you're almost feeling a little muzzled because you want to express this God-given creativity within you. And you also know that what you do works and your message matters. And it's like this tension and this boiling, and it's almost going to either pop or implode. And if you resonate with that, then just know that first off, you're not alone. You're not alone. There are so many women, and I could say this for a fact because being the CEO of Fortivine and also doing our discovery calls, like having people come out and reach out to do a call to see what it looks like to get their brand done, to see if this is a right fit for them. I've been on a lot of these calls with women, and you would be so surprised. So surprised, no matter if it's women that are running very successful companies to women that are just starting their first program or putting together some sort of business idea, but they're still working corporate. There's a common thread, which is they're wondering how to show up and let their influence be known. And it could be tricky at times, but also my goal here today, as you're going to be hearing, is it actually could be quite simple. And we're going to be breaking that down. I want to give you some nuggets, some takeaways to really understand how to be a crowned authority. That for so many years, you've probably been fed a lie because what the algorithm has been feeding and pouring into is these influencers and, doing the TikTok dance trends and pointing and just doing things that are not really you. But maybe you've got into that because you're like, well, this is probably the way to hack the algorithm. And this is my way to get my message. And hey, if you do that, then great, right? There's nothing against that once again, but there is something, I think, deeper calling for you. And one of the first things I want to drill in when you are becoming a woman of influence. And when I say this, it's also like you are already influential. Please hear me. You are. You have to believe that, because if not, then you will never show up. And one of the fastest ways and quickest ways to learn that is first look at what you've already done, even if it's not on the social media. Think of the expertise, the credibility of what you've done. Oh, Jake, well, I'm right now I'm just a nurse and I'm still trying to do this business thing. Well, oh my gosh, how many years have you been a nurse? Well, 10 years. And now I'm like running different teams and all that. Wow, that's quite a credibility. That's quite a skill set you have, that when you teach your specific thing that you want to do out there, you actually understand human connection. You understand empathy. You've gone through certain protocols being a nurse, understanding that, you're not just going to sell something. You have to diagnose the person. Wow, there's so much to you, Rady. Well, tell me more about you. Well, I really love the Lord and I went to seminary school, or I have 2 kids and I've really poured into them and taught them the Bible. Wow, that's an interesting aspect of you. Can you start to see how things like that, where you once thought was actually a discredit, is actually the greatest credit that you could have, because it's your story. And what happens with women of influence is that they discredit themselves because what feels so normal to them, so easy, is actually quite phenomenal in other women's minds. Does that relate at all? I was on a call today with a woman, actually a nurse, and she's building a business and she understands business dynamics and structures. And she was like, oh my gosh, she was like, I have to keep reminding myself that these things that feel so easy that I don't want to talk about it, because I'm like, who wants to hear this? She was like, I hear that these women and these people I help, they have no clue about business structure. And what I know, this woman is saying that, is actually very valuable for them. And that's my first point that I want to really drill in with you, is to know the difference between being an influencer versus a woman of influence. Is that a woman of influence is someone that has an expertise or an understanding or a way of seeing life or a thought or a different contrarian take that is meant to help someone move from point A to point B. And that point A to point B is creating a transformation. It's creating a progress. It's creating something different in their life, especially if it's something good in their life. And women of influence, you don't have to have a lot of followers. Please hear me on this. You don't have to have a lot of followers to be influential. There's all these different studies out there and statistics. And one of the statistics that I wanted to pull up here and share with you, because it's important to understand this. This is the market today. SurveyMonkey, which is a giant platform that was able to get a big database of understanding, has a statistic that says 77% agree being a thought leader doesn't require a large following. Hear me again on that. Being a thought leader does not equate having a large following. So you've thought that you have to have a certain amount of following, a certain amount of metrics, success to be influential. But the numbers and the people say that the majority believe that thought leadership does not come from that. That is a byproduct of thought leadership. You've probably seen some people out there that have all the followers and the metrics and the engagement, and they're the total opposite of a thought leader. And they just hack some sort of algorithm and code, but there's not really that influence. They just know how to garner attention. And so I wanted to pour into you, and I hope you receive that first, that if you want to step into being a crowned authority, you have to first identify that the authority is already within you. You've been given gifts that no one else has. You've been given a skill set that is multiple facets, that when you combine it together, you are one of one. You are already fearfully and wonderfully made. You are unique and made in the image of God. But also your skill set and the way you show up is unique if you actually present it that way. And so one of the things to understand about the difference between an influencer and a crowned authority is that an influencer is like a billboard. And a billboard, as you drive by, it captures attention. It knows how to have the right image or the right words to create a shock factor. But then you drive by and you don't really think about it. You might think about it a little bit, but it's quick and passes by. Where instead a crowned authority, someone like you, someone that has this calling deep within, you know there's something in there. You're more like an architect. And that architect builds the ecosystem, builds the buildings, builds the infrastructure that people live in. They get to have and experience life in. People come to them to experience what they've made. It's not about so much being so flashy and hacking the algorithm and trying to garner likes and attention and views. It's about building something that makes a difference. And you have right now, I know it to be true, a calling, a vision that the Lord has planted in your mind, in your heart. You're waking up 3 a.m. and just thinking about that. And that is your architecture of what you need to build. And if you let that slip because you keep thinking you have to follow the chasing of the likes and the views and the algorithm and what's working for them, then you'll never look inward and realize that that calling is not about chasing. It's about pursuing with peace and excellence. There's no shortcuts to it. However, there is ways to further that. And that is being a crowned authority. And a crowned authority, my friend, is also someone that realizes that they're not going to speak to everyone. They're not going to work for everyone. Right? I believe from what we've seen at Fortivine, and when we go through this discovery process, and that's why we have a discovery call, is because we get inquiries from all different places, and especially if they, fill out a little questionnaire on our website, and they obviously are somewhat qualified because they filled it out already, they've seen what we do, is that we are there to truly see if or how we can help them. And it's mind blowing because people think like, oh my gosh, they're going to probably sell me something right away. Like this is something that I got to get my credit card ready. And I don't know if I want to be on it. I don't want to be sold. How much is it? What is it? And it's like, I get on the call right away and I'm like, hey, so great to meet you. And, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to see where to direct you in the best path because we get so many people coming our way and we want to make sure if we're going to work together, this is a good fit. Wow. That changes everything. That makes them feel so different. Why is that? Because we know as we step into our crown authorities with Fortivine, with Emily's brand, with our brand, with the things that we're doing, that we can't help everyone. And that's okay. And we oftentimes get in this loop thinking that we have to be the savior for everyone and we have to speak to everyone. And I'm so passionate and I love everyone. And so I want to help everyone. Well, I'm telling you right now that if you try to help everyone, you're going to speak to no one. You will get lost in the sea of noise. You will be in the land of mediocrity because you're not speaking to your avatar. And your avatar is not everyone. Your avatar is blank. It is this woman that is looking for transformation. She is so hurt from, figuring out how to do things on her own. She's in her late 30s. She might be a single mom. She might be married. She's in the real estate space. She's a coach. She's looking how to build a program. She needs a breakthrough on her financials. Whatever that is, you got to speak to her. And that is when she, listening on the other side, will see your ad, see your video, see your post, see your web page, and be like, wow, I've seen 50 other coaches. None of them speak to me, but there's something different here. That is you stepping into being a crown authority because you know who you speak to and you know the throne you sit on. And so when we get on these calls and they share these things, what's so awesome is that most times we actually have a way to help these women. But there are those few times where I say at the end of it, like, hey, you know what? You have a really good calling. We believe in what you're doing and all that. And we have, we're going to go a little bit deeper to understand. But I think if we go and send you some free master classes for you to learn, I think that would be the right thing right now, because I don't think our services would be the best fit for you. Will it help you? Sure. But is it going to be the best thing you need right now? Probably not. And when they hear that, once again, they're like, wait, what? Like, you're not trying to sell me something like that. It builds this reciprocity because we know who we serve. We know the crown authority and we know who that is. And so I challenge you as I'm sharing these real examples that you are someone that is able to serve not everyone, but a specific someone. And when you get clear on that, then it actually makes life a lot easier because you're not actually segregating people away from you. You're just making it more clear on the path for those who you want to work with. We get wrapped up in this fear of like, well, I don't want to exclude people. I don't want to, make people feel like I can't help them. Well, I'll tell you right now, you're not going to help anyone if you don't do that. And so my next tip for you of stepping into your crowned authority is getting not just clear of who you want to serve, but also being so clear of who you don't serve and what you don't do. And not all the times you have to tell people that, but you internally need to have that filtration process. So whether it's through the messaging on your social media or your website, maybe it's the way that you do your inquiry calls, you make it pretty dang clear on what you do and what you don't do, or you're also filtering it. So as you're listening or you look at these intake forms or whatever it is that you are garnering attention, you now know who you're going to work with. I don't want this to go over your head because it's so important. And what this does is this helps to create a premium brand. See, premium is a visual thing, but it's also a messaging and fit type of thing, right? Things feel more premium when it's made specifically for you. It doesn't have to be like, think about if I'm going to go shopping for a nice blazer, and I don't do this too often. As you can tell, I'm a pretty simple guy, but if I'm going to go shopping for a nice blazer, premium to me is not so much of the nicest material. It's the most expensive. Oh my gosh, it's all these brand fancy names. Premium also could be that I go into the shop and they are tailoring everything to me, taking care of me, giving me a great experience. And I feel, one, taken care of, but two, this suit that I am getting is like made for me. And I'm 6'6". I'm a tall. Most outfits, I can't even really shop at Zara anymore. I've tried it. Emily's been trying to take me to Zara. My mind was blown when I went there the first time. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then I try things on and I look like I'm, ready for the flood with my pants that don't even fit. And it sucks. But I get it. They're made for, fast fashion, if that's what it's called. Emily, you're going to fact check me on that. But it's fast fashion. But for me, that doesn't feel as premium because it doesn't work for me. Where this other place, even if it's not the most expensive place and it's tailored to me, I feel like I'm getting a premium experience. That is what you want to do with your brand. That is what you want to do with your offer. That is what you want to do when you take care of people. And beyond the sales process, when you are thinking about your personal brand and making it feel premium, we'll talk about the visuals in a second, but you want to make it feel premium. But when someone comes to your page and they have 7 seconds, this is just a statistic, it might be even less now, and they come to your page and they see your profile photo and your cover image and the first few photos, they're over here thinking and analyzing without even being too conscious, like, is this someone that I'm going to spend more time on? Can I trust this person? Do they have something for me? Is this intriguing? All these thoughts, and it's all about themselves, not you. Even though you play a part in it, it's about themselves. What's in it for me? Everyone wears a sign that says, what's in it for me, right? And if they feel like there's an intrigue, or they could get educated or inspired, or maybe something valuable will come from you, guess what? They're going to now either like and engage on your stuff. They're going to follow you. They're going to be staying part of your journey. And all of that comes because the messaging felt premium to them. They felt when they came to their page, it was made for them. Are you tracking with me right now? This is how you become a crown authority on the base level without doing much of a significant change, by getting clear on who you serve, getting clear on what you stand for, and actually making the content. And the content doesn't have to be Paramount production. It doesn't have to be this trendy style. It doesn't have to be cinematic style. It's you style. It's being you. Whether it's photos, videos, carousels, quote badges, what is it that you are authentically feeling like you want to experience? Some people are really good in front of the camera, so they naturally make more videos. Go do that. Maybe you're a little camera shy and you're more of a writer. You're more of a muse. You like to write and be artistic. Well, then maybe that's more of a quote badge with a nice long caption. People read that as long as it's engaging. What is that for you? Maybe it's carousel. Maybe it's a big mix of both, where it's a little bit creative and a little bit stylistic, but then some education. We have to create content, because when people come to your page, which they are, they're looking to see, can they trust you? You got to create that premium feeling. Now, on top of that, I hear this question a lot, or I hear this concern, which is these women everywhere is thinking, well, I need to get the right logo, the right color. And it's like, that's what a brand is. And I'll put it on my template and my PDF, and I'm going to run it through ChatGPT and make this, pretty generic vanilla copy assessment thing. And that's going to be a good brand. That is not branding. That doesn't cut it. What really works for you is by getting clear on what you stand for, who you are, what's your messaging. The logo is the extension. The feeling, the colors, that is the presence. It matters. As we say in Fortifine, we have 4 layers that we take women through when we do our whole turnkey process. We have layer 1, which is the foundation. Layer 2 is the presence. Now, there's a reason why the foundation, which we'll talk about in a second, is first and the presence is second. The foundation is the business and marketing strategy. We call this the Crown Authority Blueprint. This is the foundation of knowing your market, knowing the white space, knowing your message, your signature IP, what you stand for, your contrarian belief, your ideal client persona, your product market fit, what is the market looking for, SEO, AEO, which is AI engine optimization, knowing all of that. By first then pulling out your unique essence of who you are and building that, and then getting clear on that. You don't have the presence yet, but you run with the foundation. You are going to see a big difference, because you're going to cut through the noise and you are going to speak to your person. The second layer is the presence. This is where now the feeling, the aesthetic, the color, the mood, when people come to your page, it doesn't have to be perfect colors, but are they feeling like this woman is serious? Is she professional? And the presence is what creates a very important concept. And I hope as I'm sharing this, you're starting to understand what a crown authority is, right? And I'm giving little nuggets in between here, but you're starting to understand, because we have to break the paradigm of what being an influencer is versus being a crown authority. And so when I share this, it sits deeper within you, then you know how to act on it and realize that what you once was probably chasing actually doesn't matter. And now you can go and do what actually works. So the presence is what creates a powerful concept called perceived value engineering. What does that mean? That means when that person came back to your page or got referred to you and they're going to your website and they see this, before they read any copy, they're looking at the presence, the way it comes off. Does it feel premium or does it feel Walmart? Does it feel like this woman is a professional speaker, or does it feel like this woman is built her website on Squarespace? It looks super tacky and she's probably just getting started, and maybe she's a decent speaker, but we're not going to pay her premium. We're not going to pay her full, $10,000, $15,000 rates. That occurs right away because of the perceived value engineering. The presence embodies and materializes your soul. That is when things get really exciting, my friend, is when you have your soul, because every one of you, you're so unique. Emily has a unique soul essence to you listening right now, to me, to any of the other women, any of the other 63 women we've helped at Fort Devine. Every woman has a unique essence, and the way that it gets materialized is different. Some of them have a nice soft palette tone. Maybe some of them are the bold red and it's more like sharp and edgy. Maybe it's more monochromatic. Maybe it's more of a Vogue type of feeling. But the feeling has to be you. You're not creating a presence because you saw someone else doing it. The best alignment of a personal brand is when your soul is literally what we call it's like we're extracting the brand DNA. And then we materialize it. And you can't use AI to do this. AI can help with systems. It can help with ideation, creative output, but it can never duplicate or pull out the uniqueness of your soul because it doesn't understand it like another soul does, another human. You can take the presence, the foundation, the soul that you've created, and then use AI to further amplify that, but you can never create it from the source. Just like how we were all made in God's image, we can't recreate that. The Lord has created us. We can create other things. We can create art, technology, media, all these things, but we can't recreate the soul. And that's the same thing with branding, is that when you have a soul, and this is one of our philosophies, I want you to hear me on this. One of our philosophies is a brand without a soul will never stand out. A brand without a soul will never stand out in the market, because in the world of AI slop and copy and paste brands, you've probably seen them. They're getting more rampant by the day. You can start to tell who's using those Claude carousels. It looks really bad. It's super tacky and it's like doesn't even make sense anymore. But in a world of all of that, it actually couldn't be easier for you to win. It's like a two-edged sword. Like it's harder to win because there's so much noise, but it's also easier to win. What's the golden through line? The golden through line is having a brand that is positioned as a crown authority, because the end consumer is still human. No matter how much technology, AI advancement, let's go make 50 posts. Let's go do AI UGC, user generated content. All of that's going to be a flash in the pan, and it's all more noise. The brands that are going to pierce the noise, which I'm praying and hoping, that's why I'm pouring into you, because I know you're a crown authority. I know you're someone that wants to make a difference. I know you have a calling. This calling will pierce the noise, because your human essence will come through. Not as perfectionism, not as being everything has to be polished, perfect, it looks exactly right, so then you never post anything. It's being authentically you, because the consumer will continually be human, and that is where the future is going, and that is an asset that you could keep pouring into. So when you pull out this essence, this presence, and I encourage you to go deep. That's why you're listening here. You want to learn. And if this is something that you're like, man, Jay, can you guys just help me? Then of course, please, I would love to have a discovery call to see if we could help you. We have different ways of helping you. We have more affordable options. We have full turnkey options. We have free resources. We want to help you. That's what we do. We've been doing Fort Devine for 2 years. Over 63 Crown Authority brands that we've built and helped establish. It could have been more, but we said no to more because we have to make sure we could help them. And it's not about how much metrics or vanity you have or how much success. It's about the core values of what you're doing, and also the business model behind it that does it make sense to grow it, to grow an ecosystem. So I encourage you to reach out. We would love to help you. But if that's not something you're ready to step into, then keep listening, because you're meant to be a crown authority. Because then after the presence, this is now where people start to feel this about you. They start to feel it, because a brand that speaks without you saying a word is a brand that builds real trust. I wouldn't say nothing's more powerful, but there's very few things that are more powerful than when a trust is built in someone without you having to tell them about it. They could just come to your page and realize that you're an expert. They see what you're doing and they're watching some videos. They're starting to binge. They're like, man, this woman just gets it. She's so smart. Like, man, I don't know if I need her service right now, but I know soon, or I might have a friend that will need her service. You didn't even talk to them once, and you built trust. That's powerful, because it's internal conviction coming in from your consumer. This is crown authority. This is how you step into the woman of influence. And so as I got a few more tips here, I just want to take a step back here, because, I don't know exactly where you're at right now. You might be at ground zero. You might be at just kind of figuring things out. You might be on the opposite spectrum, where you've been pretty successful, but you've been burned, and you've been going through some trials, and you've maybe thought that a certain solution was going to work and it didn't. You maybe probably got sold into this thing of like building out all these funnels and automations and all that, and you thought that was branding, and no, that's systems and automations. The brand has to attract the right people to then let the systems and automations work for you. You could have the most perfect system, but if no one's going to want to go through the system, then you're wasting a lot of money. The brand should be doing that. And another philosophy that we have here that I want to share, because this is all about paradigm shifts, is that a personal brand is either your greatest or your worst employee. And you're going to be deciding, you can decide for yourself, is this employee actively working for you, making things easier, attracting new leads, working 24/7, garnering trust, warming up clients, helping to build trust? Or are they actively working against you? Is this employee of yours scaring people away? Have you ever had that? Like, God bless Walmart, right? My family grew up in the Costco world. It's funny. There's like a Costco Walmart, battle. It's just the normal thing, because they're both like wholesale, and let's just be real. Costco is more premium, and that's talk about branding, right? Where's my Costco fans at? You better let me know. But our whole household was Costco. Grew up in Maui, Hawaii. There's only one Costco there. It was like one of the biggest in the world, because the prices were so much cheaper. If you've been to Hawaii, you know how expensive things are. And Costco, we like our Costco, but Walmart, right? I'm going to poo-poo at Walmart a little bit. You've probably had those scenarios at Walmart where you go in there and there's an employee in there that you probably could think of still to this day that sits in your mind. You probably could even smell them. You could definitely know what they still look like. And they created a bad experience. They probably made it where you don't want to go during that time of day or that night, the night. Oh man, there's like some walking zombies in there. That employee was actively working against the brand. It was misrepresenting the brand. The way that they spoke to you, the way they made you feel like you're scum of the earth, like you don't matter, when they're literally getting paid to take care of you. And that employee, and God bless their soul, I pray that they learn how to have good business ethics, but also that they know that they're there to serve you. That caused a bad connotation. You probably didn't want to talk good about Walmart. I'm not talking good about Walmart right now, not because I have a vendetta against them. It's because I've had some of those experiences. And I've also had some of those experiences at Costco. No one's perfect, but Walmart's a little worse. And how much different is your brand? Have you really thought of that before? Have you really thought about your brand? It's not just this vanity thing. Remember, influencer brand is more of a vanity thing. It's come and go. It's a billboard. Crowned authority, a woman of influence, this brand is an asset. This brand is going to work for you for the rest of your life. It's going to compound over time if you let it, if you give it the right structure. And you might have a brand right now that when someone comes to your page, I've seen multiple women. Oh my gosh, that's why I can never prejudge anymore. Because in our discovery call, I have just a few questions that they fill out just to get enough idea. I'm not trying to do a whole interrogation, but I want to know a little bit about them. And they fill out some of these questions, but I ask them what's their Instagram. I'm curious, who are they, right? If they want a brand, they should at least have something. And I've learned my lesson real quick to not prejudge on the Instagram, not in a bad way, but just like of their impact or their influence, because there has been so many times women, I get on these calls and I'm blown away. They're incredible. So powerful, doing this, doing that, experience. They're 20 years running a business. They start up a tech company with all these random things, and they're speaking and they're coaches. And then I go to their social media and I'm like, I would have never known. Where is this? Either they have no social media, like a couple photos, or they have a bunch of family photos. And we love family. I think that's important to bring that in there. But that crown authority is not there. And it's so wild, because I think you need to be reminded yourself that your brand is representing who you are to the person that doesn't know you. Like, you know yourself, you know you're great. You know your clients know you're great. Your close circle knows you're great. But what about the rest of the market? If you want to make big impact, you got to get outside of your own market. And you're going to also receive so much more abundance and opportunity and people coming to your doors than you having to go to their doors when you actually have a brand that attracts those people. And that brand of yours might be doing what I have learned, which is like, man, I can't judge this. But the sad thing is the consumer doesn't have time to make that decision, nor cares. Because there's another coach, another realtor, another speaker, another author, someone else out there to go and hire and book and trust, because you should be doing that by now in their mind. And that's what a crown authority is about, is your brand has to be representing you. So what can you do today to start to make that change? How can you start to show up authentically? Doesn't mean you have to have the perfect buzzword of a profile photo. It doesn't mean you have to go and, make up all these statistics and credibilities to sound like you're a professional. It means by just showing up and looking polished and actually making content. And a cool statistic to share with you, Forbes article did this recently. They did a statistic or a study, and it showed that 82% of, where's it at here? I'm pulling it up on my notes. Just want to make sure I say it right. So you fact checkers. Let's see here. 82% of consumers are more likely to trust a company when its leadership is active on social media. The founder's stories, values, and voice have become as important, if not more, than the logo or the brand. Did you hear that? Consumers are craving connection. And what this drills in for the next point is that having a founder-led brand is actually the winning move and will continue to be. Because as the market gets more decentralized and harder to know what to trust and knowing what is real and who is real, they are coming back to the founder, because the consumer is still human. And that's why your personal brand has to be personal. They are coming to look at you. You have a coaching program or a podcast or some sort of service or offer. Guess what? They're going to eventually find their way back to you. They're going to see, who is this woman? Is this legit? Is it worth the price that she's charging or asking for? Should I trust getting on this discovery call? Should I go to her event? Is it worth it? I don't want to waste money again. I've done this before. It's not good. All these questions are going through the head. And what is so important is, just like this statistic and many more, is that you can step into being a founder-led brand today. Today, there's so many women that we've helped that are in the range of 2,000 followers to around 20,000 followers. And that's the sweet spot. That's the sweet spot where, there's another statistic that I'll pull up after, but it's there's actually, trust doesn't change much after 20,000 followers. That having more lucrative, intentional, clear messaging and knowing what you do and you're an expert with that amount of followers is actually the sweet spot. Now, if you have more followers, if you garner more trust, that's a byproduct. You can create more influence. But once again, if you wanted to be an influencer, you would go and chase the followers and feel like you're not worthy until you have that success. And you're always going to be like thinking about the next deal. And oh my gosh, my video only got 5,000 views instead of 20,000 views. And oh my gosh, now I'm going to get paid less for my sponsorship. Crown authorities don't have to worry about that, because Crown authorities understand that influence doesn't come from the metrics. It comes from the impact. It comes from the messaging. It comes from making it so clear that the person that has a desire and a real pain is able to get a real solution out of what you provide. A physical solution, a mental transformation, a spiritual transformation, a financial transformation, whatever it is. Maybe it's all of them. A Crown authority does not measure themselves by metrics. So if you're someone with a couple hundred followers, maybe a few thousand, and you're still comparing yourself, you see Emily has 500,000, you see other people you follow has millions or hundreds of thousands. First, I want to say, yeah, I've done that too. I've compared. I've looked at people like the Alex Hormozis and the Layla Hormozis and the Cody Sanchez, where I'm like, oh my gosh, they are blowing up so fast. Look at them. Look at what they're doing. And gosh, we should be doing things faster. And like, we should be having that impact. And man, we're obviously not doing things right until we're at that level. Like, what are we missing out on? Why aren't we doing that? And then you just get in this comparison game. And the reality is that we're perfectly where we should be. We're doing it with peace. And also we're trusting the call that God has for us. And we're also in a season that we are embracing. Season embracing with the multiple companies, with a family that's being built. That's right for us. And I know I could go to bed at night and know that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and we can impact more lives. And that's what matters. And do it the right way. So if you have a couple hundred followers, a couple thousand, maybe you have a lot of followers, but you did some sort of random bot thing back in the days, and because everyone was doing that, and your engagement is toast. Guess what? It's fine. You can still change. The algorithm works so well now that you have to be consistent on your messaging. And there's all these little tips and tricks that I could share, but the algorithm one is a fun, quick one I'll share with you. You can be at ground zero, and you can also be pretty dead or inactive on your account for a while. But if you make content consistently about your topic, about your signature IP of whatever you stand for, right? Maybe it's about helping small business women go from their first 0K to 10K. Maybe it's about, we have a woman, Michelle Roby, incredible. She's like building a tanning salon franchise, and she wanted to expand her franchise, and she had no personal brand. And she was following all these other personal brands and realized that they have leverage and influence, and they're able to expand businesses. And she's like, well, if I want to start a new business, a new franchise, I'm going to struggle getting new clientele that are going to trust me, new business partners. She's like, I need people to know who I am and trust the brand, or else I'm never going to expand. And from that, she worked with us, built this whole brand identity, but because of that also birthed this calling and this mission to speak on behalf of small business owners, especially women, because she's one of them and she has a heart for them. And she started from ground zero. And she also wants to speak and consult, but she never knew how because she didn't really have those doors to present. And now through her digital HQ, which is what we call a website, but a website actually converts and does the right thing, she's now having it where people know how that she does speaking. And now she got a speaking gig a few months ago for the first time ever for a small business event. And it was like incredible. She was blown away. That's because she is so clear with who she helps. And when you show up consistently time and time again with that similar content, doesn't mean it's the only thing you talk about, but you have to drill in and own that. The algorithm now understands you, right? Hear me on this. The algorithm understands you, what you're talking about, and it also knows your avatar, because the algorithm is so smart and knows every single thing about people, right? It could be good or bad, but for now, like we can use it for good. And it knows how to recommend your content to them, because this avatar is looking for that type of content. And until you make it clear enough by showing up consistently, the algorithm won't know how to get that content in front of that person that doesn't even follow you yet. I mean, you've probably seen that before, right? You've seen that where you get recommended a reel that this is a person that's not following. It's not like a mega viral reel. It's kind of a smaller reel. And you're like, wow, who is this? Wow, that's really interesting. It's because it's trying to find that right match. And when you do that consistently enough, that's how you start to get free exposure. So little things like that, but it all comes back to knowing what you stand for and what you speak on. And so, yeah, that's being a crown authority. So where do we go from here? As we come to a end of this episode, my hope is that when you listen to all of this, if there's one thing that you take away, it's the mindset and the mentality of what it means to step into your crown authority. You are already called. The Lord has called us. He has equipped us. But it's those that will step into and grab the crown to then also know that they are royally crowned. And when you step into that, because you're already called, but you step and put on that crown that's already there, you now are owning your authority. And your authority is not comparatively to other people's authority. It's your authority. It's your authority through the way that the Lord has given you your gifts and your callings. And if you could just own that identity moving forward from this episode, the whole dynamic of how you show up is going to change. If you've been someone that has been really struggling to show up, you're either afraid of how to show up, how people will see you. Maybe you're not afraid of it. You're just also, you have a spirit of excellence and you don't want to look tacky. Maybe you don't want to look half baked with what you're showing to the world. Then I encourage you to really lean in and get clear about what you stand for. We have plenty of free resources. We have literally multiple podcasts going over all of this stuff here on Called and Crowned. If you're curious, reach out and do a discovery call. The link is below, fortdivine.com/discover. Book a complimentary call. We would be happy to see if we could help you, if it's a right fit, or guide you in the right direction, because we're here to help you. But you have to get over this idea of, well, I don't want to do it because I don't want to look half-baked. I have the resources. I might have the means, but it's not a priority for me right now. You got to make it a priority. You got to make this is not a vanity game. We're not influencers over here. We are realizing that owning a crown authority, the crown that's on it for the world to see so you can make greater impact, is not an option. It's a mandate. It's a mandate to truly step into that, because if you don't step into that, someone else will, and they won't have the same calling as you. They won't have the same values, the same beliefs, and they will probably be in a way that, and I've seen this firsthand, that's why I'm convicted about this, they have deception. They're doing it for the significance. They're doing it for the money. They're going to screw some people over just because they need to get that next paycheck. And that person you could have been serving is now seeing that other person, because they're a little bit louder, and they got the attention of this person that was looking for you, but got confused with the other person. And now they're going to have some trauma and experience they're going to have to get over because you didn't get over your own ego. This is a mandate. If you have a God-given calling, this is a mandate in your life. And so I encourage you for you to start to show up consistent. Start to realize that, you know what, being authentically you is actually what the market wants. They want the founder-led brand. They want the more personal thought leader. Remember what SurveyMonkey said? People said it was 77% or right around that number said that thought leadership does not equate to having a big following. That you don't need to have that following to show that you can be a thought leader. You could be a thought leader with a small following. I would rather have 5,000 dedicated followers than 50,000 followers that are there because of one random dog viral video. And now they don't even want to watch your other stuff. They were just there for the dog stuff, and you're not a dog person, but you posted something funny. You see the difference? And then now the algorithm sees that you don't have good engagement, and then they're like, well, no one's liking their stuff because they were there for the dog stuff. And it's like, so don't base this off the metrics, but step into the crown authority, because the Lord has called you to that. You've been called to make a difference. You've been called to do something more. There is someone out there waiting for you that they don't even know you're out there. I'll leave you with this. This is quite cool. And this is a personal experience from us. So we have, for the first time, really ever, have been now running actual Meta paid ads on social media. Like the first time. Talk about personal branding, organic. You can build real businesses without doing paid ads. However, paid ads, when done right, from what we've seen, work really well. And this is the coolest thing. I shared this with Emily today, right before I recorded this, because we've been on so many of these discovery calls because of these ads, people are finding them. There's been multiple women, but there's this one woman that was searching for help and for branding. She's pretty new in this. And she saw our ad, and she was like, the way you described crown authority, I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't even know how to describe that myself. But she was like, I was in tears. She's like, it was so beautiful the way that Emily shared that and what it meant. And that's what I've been wanting. I didn't want to be like this influencer person. That's why I'm making this video right now, because this is so visceral and real. And I'm making this podcast for you. And she's like, then I go to your page, and then that video at the top of the page with Emily talking, she was like, I was in tears watching that. I watched it 3 times, and oh my gosh. And it's like, I'm so glad I found you, but I don't know what this is. And so of course she has to learn more, but there is people out there looking for you. You don't have to have an ad to go and find them. You just have to show up in the marketplace. They are waiting for you. And you are most powerfully positioned. Emily says this so well. You are most powerfully positioned to serve who you once were. If you can't figure out yet who you're meant to serve the woman you were last year, a few years ago, before that divorce, after that divorce, the woman that was single, the woman that didn't understand business, the woman that after bankruptcy, the woman that after, figuring out her third business, whatever that is, you've gone through some things, personal, business, professional. Serve that woman, speak to her, because that woman is also out there somewhere, and she needs to hear your voice. And even if it doesn't lead to a business opportunity, it leads to a life changed. And that's what really matters. That's what this is all about. This is so much more than financials. This is so much more than transactions. I hope you could feel my heart from the beginning of this. I know I'm talking a lot of business and strategy and things like that, but it's only because I know that you're the called. You're called. And the called has a heart set to truly serve first. We are like vapor in the wind, and things are going to come and go. But souls being saved, transformed, lives being impacted, that goes so much further. And your work, what you do, I believe it does that. Or you wouldn't be listening to this. There's 100,000 other podcasts you could be listening to, watching. But you're here right now because you know what your work is and what it does makes a difference. It matters. We believe what we do matters. That's why we do what we do. That's why we want to pour into you. That's why we want to help you so much. Shake you up a little bit. But then also encourage you and cheerlead you on. Because it's about helping people. So that's all I have for you here today. Being a crown authority isn't easy. It's not for everyone, because not everyone's ready to step into it. But it's so worth it. And it's a compounding asset that goes so much beyond any other asset, because it is you. And the consumer is looking to trust in you. Your brand will continually represent that even when you are on a maternity leave, like my beautiful wife, where she gets to still make this impact and she's not sitting here right now because the brand's essence comes through her, comes through what we've done together. And we pray that that continually goes towards you. So that's all I got. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm a little fresh here. I'm a little fresh. All I can say is that I'm going to be doing these here for the next few weeks. Maternity leave is going to be for quite some time. So we're going to have some fun and be ready. I'm ready to pour value into you. I feel like this had to be the icebreaker one. I'll be honest. I'm a little nervous. Emily's like a pro at this. She's been doing this more with you. I feel like I'm coming in and now I'm speaking to you. So if this spoke to you, screenshot this, put this on your Instagram, tag me at Jake Havron. It would mean so much. Share the message, share Called and Crowned, share it with people, let them know. Send this to a friend that needs to get out of this mindset that they need to be an influencer, that they're so stuck in this way of like, well, I have this big calling, but I don't want to be doing dancing. Well, they need to hear this episode. They need to hear this. Set them free by doing that. That would be a gift that keeps on giving. But I ask, just tag me. I'd love to see that. And more importantly, what I thought would be really cool is whether it's on the Called and Crowned Instagram or hello@fortivine.com. If you want to email in or send a DM, whatever's easier for you, Called and Crowned, hello@fortivine.com. Send in what you would love to learn over these next couple weeks. But the team's going to be watching it like a hawk. They're going to be giving me insights, what you're sharing. What do you want to learn here on Called and Crowned? Is it something business specific? Do you want to hear about how we run operations? Do you want to hear about more tactics on personal branding? Do you want to hear about some faith-based stuff, some maybe relational things? What is it for you? We would love to hear, and you better believe that maybe what you share might be an episode that we create here for you. So I'd love to hear that. But yes, thank you for being here. Please share this with someone. And don't forget, you are already called. And all you have to do is pick up that crown because you are a crown authority. God bless. And I'll see you in the next episode.